everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps, and this is Lunchtime Live, episode 89. For those of you who are new here, Lunchtime Live is basically my video newsletter. So I'll start by telling you about what's going on the blog, what's new, what's coming up, what I'm working on, all of that kind of stuff. And then we finish off with a quick demo. Now for 2022, I've decided to do a different stitch every week as the demo, like a different stitch pattern. So this week's stitch of the week is crochet granny stitch. So not granny squares, but the same stitch that's used in granny squares. This is crochet granny stitch. So we'll be working on that at the end of the video. Next week, because I'm alternating between knit and crochet stitches, next week will be a knit stitch. So let's get into, I wanted to tell you one other thing. As I talk about any of the posts or tutorials or anything else that might have a link associated with it that you might want to go visit, look in the description on this video and you will see a link to a blog post. In that blog post, I have a list of everything I plan to be talking about. So if you go there, you can find any of the patterns or posts that I'm telling you about. So let's get started. The main thing that happened this week is the materials and giveaway post for the third bag in our bag along crochet along. Hi Mary, it's good to see you. Happy Thursday. So what are you up to today? What are you working on? I'm feeling chatty today, so I hope everybody chats in the chat. How many times can I say chat? Anyway, what I'm working on is the third bag, which is a mandala bag, and I didn't bring it down to show you, unfortunately, but I'll show you guys next week. It is 2 circles basically joined with a strip, and the cool part about this one is it has a zippered lining inside. You don't absolutely have to do the lining, but I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it, because my sewing skills are horrific. I mean, I'm really not good. You sprained your wrist and can't work yet. Oh no. Well, that's awful. So what are you doing to not go insane while you're waiting to be able to use your hands? Because that just sounds awful. Are you reading a lot? I bet you're reading a lot. So if you read a good book, put it in the chat. Okay, so it's the lining. I'm not good at sewing. So I've done a tutorial on sewing this thing together. Audiobooks are awesome, Mary. Okay, totally change the subject. I am listening to a series. I forgot the name of the first book. I think it's The Story of Coley or something like that. And then The Trials of Coley. And then the third one I've got to listen to. I just finished the second book today. The main character's name is Coley, K-O-L-I. So if you search for that, you'll find it. Amazing series. I mean, it's seriously good. It's about, okay, how do I put this? It's like a post-apocalyptic future, but like way, way in the future. And basically we've engineered, like, part of the downfall of the world was we engineered trees to grow faster in the hopes of solving climate change. But in doing that, we made trees kind of aggressive predators because they could now grow fast enough to and move fast enough to like kill you and then feed off of your nutrients in the soil. So it basically, the whole world changed a lot. And it's all about, you know, tech from the old times and just, it's just a whole different world. It's a fantasy book, obviously, and it's so much fun. I really love it. I've been listening to it while I walk Millie, and I just finished book 2 this morning. So if you're into that kind of thing, Mary, I think you'll like that one. Okay, bag. Sorry, I sidetracked myself. The bag lining, I already told you. If I can sew it, you can sew it. You can skip it. You can sew the zipper directly to the bag. It will be fine. But you guys know crochet is stretchier than a woven fabric. And so if you wanted to keep its nice, pretty circular shape, the lining is a must. But that's only if you want it to keep that shape. Otherwise, it'll work just fine without the lining. So that's the bag that's coming up. The pattern for that will come up in 2 weeks. But yesterday or 2 days ago, I released the list of materials. So it's bulky yarn. This is one of the balls of yarn. It's blue, 2 shades of blue, and then this brown. So it's very denim-y, and it goes really well with like jeans or casual outfits for summer. Hi Beth, good to see you. We're talking about books today, and of course the bag that's coming up. But you guys have heard me talk about that for a couple weeks now. The main point is the materials list is out, the giveaway is out, so go check that out. Mary, 2 new mystery series. Oh, I like mysteries. Okay. One by Clara McKenna. Okay, both are historical. McKenna is in Edwardian England. Ooh, 1857 New York sounds interesting. That's different. I mean, you get a lot of books set in like olden times England, I feel like, but not so many set in like centuries old America. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't come across as many. So that one sounds interesting. I might have to look that one up. What's the name of, if you can find the name, put it in there, Mary, because I might actually look that one up. And yeah, the Coley series is awesome. So check that out too. It's on Audible if that's where you're listening. It might actually be one of those Audible originals. I don't know for sure, but I listen to them when I'm walking Millie. And so I get like half an hour to 1 hour bites every day while I'm walking. So I pretty much get through like a book every 2 weeks, I think. But okay. So what else am I working on? I'm at the point where I don't have anything really solid to share with you guys, but I have all these different projects swirling around in my head that will happen at some point. So I have that filet crochet butterfly sarong skirt thing that I've been thinking about making. And I've been planning that one in my head. And then I've got a stuffy, a couple of them actually, because I'm going to be participating in a stuffed animal crochet along that's coming up. But also I've been wanting to make one of those uteri. I don't know what the plural of it is. And it seems like a good time now. So I might be doing one of those. Yeah, this week's been tough if you've got one of those, right? But we will keep it on a happy note for today. So I'm working on that. I've got a fun, cute, stuffy, and a fast one for the Cal that's coming up. And then what else am I working on? You read weird ones, Beth? Paranormal romances. Okay, I need an example because that sounds fun. Is it like Bigfoot and an alien getting together or something? I mean, that just sounds really fun. I gotta read that. Okay, so what else? I had other stuff, but anyway, all of these things that I'm like sort of semi working on are, I've got that shirt that I'm making for conference season too. So all of these things are sort of in the planning stages without anything really for me to show you yet. So, Werewolves and Vampires. Okay, so like Twilight type stuff. Yeah, that's cool. I like that stuff too. I like anything. I'm easy. I'll read almost anything. World War II is one of my favorite genres. I read a book. What is it? They're talking about turning it into a movie. It's got red something in it. Okay, I don't remember the title, but it's about an Italian boy who turns 18 near the end of World War II, and about basically his adventures, not adventures so much, his experiences and all of that, and how he almost Forrest Gumped his way into becoming a hero in the war. And it was a really good book, and it's actually based on a true story. So I really liked that one. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, but the main character's name is Pino Lella. If you look up Pino Lella, he's a real person, so you'll find like the story based on his life, and that's a really good book too. We should start a book club. You guys want to start a book club? Let me think about that. We should start like a Scrappy Stitchers book club, because I feel like all of us read while we're crocheting sometimes and stuff like that. But okay, what else am I working on? Oh, I think I told you all the stuff I'm working on. Basically, the point is I don't have anything near completion right now. I've got a lot of irons in the fire. So it might be a little quiet right now, but then I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of stuff in a couple of weeks probably. So that's where I'm at. But if you guys are interested, I'm absolutely serious. If you guys are interested in starting a like Scrappy Stitchers book club or something like that, where we, I don't know, pick titles and all read them together or something, I can work on that idea. So let me know. Let me know. That would be fun. I think that would be fun. Okay, let's jump into the demo for this week, and then we can talk more about books after. All right, so we're doing, I'm just like playing with it here. We're doing Granny Stitch, and so I want to show you something because people don't make the connection often. But yeah, Mary, book club sounds fun, right? But okay, so Granny Stitch, these are actually shells. We've been working a lot with shells, right? Granny stitches are what happen to shells when you don't tuck them down by making a short stitch in between them. So like when we did shells, we've always made like, well, in this case we did V's. Hang on, let me see if I've got my other shell swatch here. So these were the alternating shells, right? And every time we made a shell, we made a smaller stitch in between to kind of make the shell fan out and curve downwards, right? If you don't do that, all the stitches stand straight up and you get Granny Stitch. So traditional Granny Stitch is very, very specific. This is traditional Granny Stitch. It is 3 double crochets and chain 1 spaces. And that is the absolute like basic traditional Granny Stitch. But you can do a ton of different things with it. You can change it around in a bunch of different ways. So let me show you how to do this one first, and then we'll talk about the changes just like always. So this is the same stitch that's used in granny squares, but here we're doing it in rows. You can also do it in rounds like, okay, so a granny square, you do rounds like this with corners, like special stitches in the corners, right? But you could do rounds like this too. And if you look actually in the post that I posted, oh, did I lose my low battery? But you're plugged in. Oh, you're not plugged in. There we go. Okay. So you can do rounds going around the outside of a square like a granny square, but you can also do rounds like this, making a tube or a cowl or things like that going around like this. So I have a pattern that uses a variation of this, and it's a water bottle holder. The reason this stitch works so well for that is because it's super stretchy, particularly vertically. So this is great for market bags and things like that. It's not so great if you need something that needs to hold its shape, that, you know, like you're trying to make a basket or something and you want it to keep this shape. Granny Stitch is not going to give you any sort of structure. It's not going to keep its shape for you, but it's great for the stretchy, cozy type items. Okay, so for this version, I'm doing a multiple of 4. So let me go 4, 6, 7, 8, and then let's do 12. 11, 12. Okay, so that's a multiple of 4. Well, let's do 4 more. I want to make sure I've got enough to show you guys. Okay, so we're going to start with a double crochet in the 3rd stitch or 4th stitch from the hook, or 4th chain from the hook, because those first 3 chains are going to count as our first double crochet. Now, what you do with the edges can vary. You can put 1 double crochet at the edges, you can put 2 at the edges. Here I've done 3 double crochet at the starting edge and 1 double crochet at the ending edge on every row, so that all the rows would be the same. But you could do 2 and 2, you could do 1 and 1. If you did 1 and 1, it would be like cutting it off here, and then your rows would be different. Like this row would have 1 and 1, and then this row would have 3 and 3. So that's another option too. I'm just going to keep it the same as I did on this swatch for now. So I'm doing 3, basically 3 double crochet in 1 stitch at the edge. Okay, then I'm going to do a chain 1, and I'm going to skip 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, or 3 chains, sorry. Then I'm going to do 3 double crochet in the next chain. All right, so I'm just establishing my clusters and my spaces here. Chain 1, skip 3, 3 double crochet in the next chain. Chain 1, skip 3, and then 3 double crochet in the last chain, except I'm doing 1 double crochet on the ending edge just so I can keep everything the same. So I'm just going to do the 1. All right, so basically we've got 3 stitches in 1 chain here, then we've got a chain 1 space with 3 skip chains under it. So it's a group of 4. There's 4 chains here, and there's 3 stitches and 1 chain here. So that's where you get the multiple of 4. So now I'm going to do the repeating pattern for every row. 1, 2, 3 to get my first double crochet, turn my work, and in this first chain space I'm going to put 2 more double crochets. So just like on my first row, I'm starting with 3 double crochets. All right, now I chain 1 and I skip 3. In this case, we're skipping 3 double crochets. So I put 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Okay, chain 1, skip 3, 3 double crochets in this space. 3, chain 1, skip 2 because I'm at the end, and I'm just going to put 1 double crochet at the top of that turning chain, which is our first double crochet of that row, and there we go. So now I've established that same stitch pattern that you can see here, and that's the basic standard granny stitch. So things we can change about it. First of all, it doesn't have to be double crochet. Let's look at a half double crochet one. All right, I'm just going to I'll chain 1 and I'll put a half double crochet in this first stitch so that I get a nice straight edge. Okay, then I'll put 2 more half double crochets into that chain space. Chain 1, skip 3, put 2 half double crochets in, or 3 half double crochets into this chain space. And I'm sitting here doing doubles. Sometimes my mouth and my hands are not connected. There we go. Half doubles. Okay. Chain 1, skip 3, half doubles. Chain 1, skip 2, and then in this last one I'm going to put my last half double at the end. So same exact pattern, but with shorter stitches. Okay, so you can get, that tightens up these holes a little bit. So you can get a shorter, more condensed version of granny stitch using that. You could even try single crochet, but I don't know why you would. It would make the holes very, very small, but it can work. The other thing you can do is you don't have to have 3 stitches in between here. I'm not going to show that because it would change the stitch counts, but you could do 4. Right? You could do 4 in between, skip 4, you could do 5, you could do 2. The bottle cozy, the Simply Scrappy water bottle holder that I did with the variation of this stitch uses just 2. And then I think I did 2 and then chain 2 and skip 2, but it's the same concept, right? You just have to make the stitch counts work out, and you can play with the height and the number of stitches and spaces that you have. And you can play with the edges too. Working in the round is nice and easy because you can just, join in here and then make a chain space over here and keep going around. And so that's also fun. But yeah, really versatile stitch for that kind of thing. It was an easy stitch this week. We didn't get into a really, really detailed stitch this week. Granny stitch is one that everybody learns pretty early on. But it's more versatile than people think. I mean, they look at it, a lot of people learn granny stitch as part of a granny square, and they think that's it. That's just what grannies are. But like I said, you can change it around a lot. It's also really cool for stripes. And if you're doing a project that's large enough with an image that's small enough, you can actually use each of these little clusters as a pixel and do basically like a graphghan kind of thing where each of these little clusters becomes a square. So like you've got a closed square and an open square, and you can draw like a heart in granny shape or granny stitch or stuff like that. just by changing colors of each of the little squares. But because the squares are so big compared to an individual stitch, you need to use a very small chart. Because, you know, otherwise you have a very, very big project. And that is that. Okay, I'm catching up on chat now. Let's see. Currently just starting Straight On Till Morning, which is a weird twisted sequel to... Ooh. Oh. Wendy caught a ride to Neverland with Captain Hook. Now that sounds like fun. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to think of how we can manage a book club, whether we should do a separate group or what. I think we should just do a book club post. Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll do a weekly book club post in the Scrappy Stitchers group, and at the beginning of a month we'll choose a book. The next two posts will talk about the book, and the last post we'll choose a book for the next month. Or we'll brainstorm ideas for the next month. Maybe something like that'll work. Once a week posts in that group. Yes. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a book club. I'm so excited. I'll get that worked out, and maybe we'll start it. You know what? I would say maybe we'll start it in June, but I'm going to say hold off until August, because I have an H&H conference coming up in June, and I have the CGOA conference coming up in July, and I don't want to start it in a month when I'm just not going to be around for a week and a half out of the month. So yeah, we'll start it in August after conference season's over. But speaking of conference season, the CGOA conference is coming up. Registration's open. Go sign up if you haven't yet. It's in New Orleans, and we're going to have so much fun. And also, board nominations are open, and board nominations end on the 9th. So if you know somebody who would be a great addition to the CGOA board, we have 4 openings this year. So we need, we need people. I won't lie, it is a lot of work. Especially this past couple of years, because we've added so much with our online activities. We've pretty much doubled the workload of the board, I think, this past couple of years, which is good because it means we've doubled the offerings. But it's not nothing. It does take effort, but it's so rewarding. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun, and you get to, I don't know, you get to be part of everything. And I love it. I have had a blast since I've been on the board. And if you're thinking about it, it'll be fun. I promise it'll be fun. I'll be president next year. I'll make it fun. But anyway, so if you're thinking about it, or if you know somebody that you'd like to nominate, go ahead and nominate them before May 9th. And I've got the link to the nomination form in my in the blog post, in that video description. And then we'll start a book club in August, and that sounds like awesome. Great idea, Beth. I think you're the one who's, no, Mary, great idea, Mary. We're gonna do a book club. Okay, so that's it. I'm just gonna say bye now. This was fun. I like chatting with you guys. I like it when we get chatty. So have a great weekend. Think of what books you might want to start with in August, and we will talk more about this for sure. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.